First of all, Tony McNamara is my name. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the CUH group of hospitals, and you're very, very welcome here today to, I think it's a very interesting and exciting project, and I've been hearing a lot about it. And so today I think is really about a celebration of what you've been involved in. Michael is going to talk about the project and the background to it, and Geraldine is going to talk a little bit about what it means to the maternity services here. And Marie Gerling has been telling me a lot about what it means too. So it's a great project, and I want to congratulate everybody who's been involved in it and thank everybody for their support for it. It fits into, I suppose, a range of artistic endeavour which the hospital has been involved in now since Magella O'Neill Collins here donated, I suppose it was 60 paintings at the time, Magella back around 1997-98, from artists in West Cork, and that was added to over the years with different artists from around the country and indeed internationally. So there's now a really impressive art collection in the hospital here, and Des O'Sullivan, who's here, Des chairs the Arts Committee, and we're delighted Des took that challenge on back in the autumn. So we'll see the evolution of other artistic endeavour over the next while. So this is part of that, and it fits very well into, I suppose, patient care in the hospital, which is what it's all about. And we have other artistic projects involving mental health and the children's facility and so on. So this is a really important project, so thanks to everybody for your input. So Michael, maybe you'll pick up and give us a little bit of background, and we'll take it from there maybe.
Yes, I've been nominated by the CUH Arts Committee really just to introduce Mary Brett, and I also want to introduce Bernice Jones from the Ballyfahan Toker Community Arts Initiative, because they have been absolutely central to this project. Mary has been working in the visual arts in Ireland for 14 years. Her pedigree is her mother comes from Mallow and her father comes from Waterford. And Mary has come back then to Ireland to work here. And in particular, she is interested in working in collaborative arts projects, where she's actually working with a team and a group of people to create something original. And that's very much the case in this instance, where she's been working with the members of the Ballyfahan Toker Community Arts Initiative to create a kind of an opportunity, I think, for people to reflect on the particular area of loss and bereavement associated with infants that die. And it's a courageous undertaking, and it's a very powerful undertaking. And I think anybody, if you look through the books, these books incidentally are have been contributed for this event from various people, but you can look, there's a website, this little bit of paper here gives you the website that you can go to if you want to look at the book. Yeah, exactly. And you can buy one there too, it's on that website. And anybody interested in the arts, or anybody with art collections, or collections of books and arts, really should think about that. So without further ado, I think I will introduce Mary now to talk to you about the actual project, and then after that Bernice Jones to say something about the part played by the Community Arts Initiative in Ballyfahan and Toker.
I suppose it's a great kind of chance to celebrate and enjoy the launch of this book, and thank you all very much for coming. I suppose it's a great marker for the first stage of the research. It was, I suppose, a research and development stage that I did here in the hospital, in Cork University Maternity Hospital, and partnered with Ballyfahan Tower Art and Craft Initiative. So it was a great chance as an artist really to kind of explore the potential of doing another longer term project, which we're now busy working on. I suppose it'd be nice to share with you something about where I'm coming from an artist, in terms of what interested me, very much in the art kind of thinking. For any artist, it's a brilliant opportunity to come and be welcomed into a new setting, a new environment. So when I kind of got invited to partner with CUMH, I was delighted, but I didn't really know what was ahead of me. And I felt very safe because I was working with the Kahana Art and Craft Initiative. We were kind of a good tight team. We'd worked together in the past, and we had a very clear, I suppose, concept or an idea that we wanted to explore, which was about an amulet. And what is an amulet, and would it have any relevance or kind of realisation within a maternity hospital context? So that was what we were kind of going in to explore and research. We didn't have any set ideas about what would happen at the end, because we wanted meeting the staff, meeting kind of patients and others, family members, visitors. That was all going to inform our kind of thinking. And I suppose we ended up kind of producing the book because we felt that was a way of holding together all the knowledge, all the sharing of information, ideas, other kind of pieces of research. So we put it all together in a book to hold it in one place. So now we can kind of share it with other people and say, this is where the idea came from, or that's something I could kind of visit later on. So you might be thinking, so what's an amulet? You know, a lot of people said that to me. What's an amulet then, Marie? You know? And I suppose all over the world people would use amulets. They might be kind of given as a gift, or they might be bought and kept, they might be handed down through the families traditionally, and very often they're a safeguarder, they're kind of a protector of some way. So it was kind of thinking with that in mind of, well, is there any relevance within a maternity hospital, this idea of giving a gift or receiving a token of goodwill? Is there relevance, is there interest? The other thing with an amulet is that if I was to give you an amulet now, I would imbue in it my positive intention. So they're very often filled with something that's very personal and very intimate, and they're given as a gift. Or if they're bought from someone, say from a shop, they imbue that intention in it themselves. So the object, whatever it is, takes on a real significance. So, the Kahana group and myself, with the help of the staff here at the hospital, who I've got to say were amazing and really supportive and really encouraging, really open. We had a series of meetings, we did different workshops, sort of trying to kind of explore this together. And 4 main ways, kind of, I suppose, came out of the relevance of amulets. One was perhaps an expectant mother might make their own amulet, and it might be almost like a kind of a good luck token for themselves and kind of perhaps a bit of protection for themselves. That was one avenue that we pursued. Another was perhaps they might be attached to incubators. So perhaps down in the little neonatal unit, the little ones that are struggling a little bit, you know, they could be kind of a good intention towards those and kind of safeguarding them. Another way was perhaps to look at it as a keepsake. So perhaps, you know, for a mother who'd come into hospital and had a very significant pregnancy experience, the amulet, the object, the keepsake would kind of mark that in some way. You might have it in a drawer and 10 years later you might say, oh, I remember that, and I remember being at CUMH then. And then another way was looking at it, perhaps it was a remembrance keepsake. So it might be an object of some kind that the whole family have. And if, you know, they've encountered, you know, an experience where they've lost a baby or lost, you know, a little one here in the hospital, or as part of their pregnancy, perhaps the amulet could in some way mark that in a significant way for them. And perhaps it would be they'd take something home with them, or perhaps it might be put in the coffin with the little one, as on the little one's journey. So they were the kind of the 4 avenues that we pursued in a way. And the book kind of, I suppose, records that and documents that. So, Julie, my assistant, is pressing the button. You're getting a sense of, there's a lot of photographs, there's a lot of writing. People offered articles which were fantastic, their poems, their stories, and it's all kind of to do with this idea of amulets and the significance of a maternity experience. There's a couple of people I'd really like to thank. Adele Nolan, the arts coordinator for the hospital, can't be here today. She's actually, I must congratulate her because she's just had a little baby girl, but she's not able to be here. So I'd like to say on her behalf, and I'm sure the Kahana Art and Craft Initiative and myself, we'd particularly like to thank Anne-Marie Verley, because you were really generous in terms of, you know, your work and sharing that with us. I'm sure Anne-Marie won't mind me saying she's a bereavement and loss midwife here in CUMH. And so it was fantastic gaining an insight into your work and you sharing some of that and holding it in the book. And also Jenny Butler, who's a lecturer at UCC. She works in the folklore and ethnographic, I can never say that, department. So she brought a different view onto the project in terms of how things have changed over the many years within a hospital environment. I think it's important to say that the research phase wouldn't have happened without the financial help of the Arts Council, and the organisation creates Arts in the Community Scheme. Also CUMH, in terms of the hospital here, in terms of supporting it, both practically, which was immense, and also financially, and also the HSC South Cork Arts and Health Programme, who again supported the project. And I suppose it's a very important thing to mark that, because the research phase, you never really know where it's going to go. And we were lucky, it was successful, and it's launched onto a whole new phase now, the second phase, but everyone made the trust and placed that in us. So I really want to acknowledge that. And also to the Cork Arts and Health Programme for giving us some grant to be able to produce one of these for all the contributors. So that was a really nice gesture. And I think Bernice is going to talk a little bit about the role of the Kahana Toa, so I've got things I'd love to say, but I'll hold that on to you, and you've been fantastic to partner with, so I must just say that. Now you come up here on the hot spot.
I would like to say a few words on behalf of Kahana Toa Community Arts Crafts Initiative. We offer social support and reduced isolation to our community by providing therapeutic art, craft and creative textile classes. We would also be one of the many groups in Cork who actually donate handmade baby hats and blankets and booties to the CUMH. The Amulet research project would have been one of the community art projects that our group would have been involved with over the last few years. The involvement with the Amulet project came about through previous successful collaborations with the artist Marie Brett, and a fortuitous meeting with Edel Nolan, the arts coordinator here at the CUH, whom we would have met at an Arts in a Hill conference way back in 2008. And I think from that meeting that the seeds for the foundation really for the Amulet research project were kind of set in place then. So at our first briefing meeting on the Amulet project, here with staff from the CUMH, one of the neonatal nurses would have highlighted their lack of really very, very small baby clothes for neonatal, for the premature babies and for late miscarried babies. And at that meeting we were asked if we could make small white items for these babies. So our group warmly embraced this request, and to date we would have donated to the CUMH multiple little white baby layets. These layets would also have been donated by us to the maternity units in the Rotunda, Hollis Street, Kerry General Hospital, and since we began this precious work we would have received many letters of thanks and support and gratitude from the staff in these units who would have used these bespoke baby layets. Our involvement in the Amulet project would have been an enriching experience, providing us with an insight into the day-to-day priorities of the patients and the staff of the CUMH. But arising out of the Amulet research project, visual artist Marie Brett is now leading a national groundbreaking Amulet art project, and we at Kahana Toa Arts and Crafts Initiative would be proud to be one of the active participants in working collaboratively in this new project. So, thank you.
My name is Geraldine Kahana. I'm Director of Midwifery at Cork University Maternity Hospital. And Bernice, you used a lovely word, and the word was precious. And when you said it, it struck clearly, because I can still remember back in November we made our first meeting on the 5th floor, and Nancy and her team arrived, Sacred Heart Divine. In the evening we had tables of beads and crochet and knitting, and beads, and all I could think of, what are we going to be doing here? And how long are we going to be here for? So the honesty is that it was difficult to get some of our women involved, and that's being honest, but the staff definitely engaged. They couldn't but with the enthusiasm of these women here. They had no other choice but to get involved. And we had 3 or 4 meetings, 3 or 4 sessions. We had wonderful talk and chat, and it was actually a time to sit and to perhaps be yourself and to look at what was very precious in times gone by. For me, it highlighted that our women today, they're more interested in the technology element of pregnancy. The women really weren't involved at that stage or weren't interested in the knitting and the crochet. But that is not to say that that won't happen again. So precious is very important, Bernice, and that time was very precious. And as a result of that very precious time, we have a most beautiful book. And in actual fact, I don't think book actually describes it, because I don't know how you could actually describe this, because it's certainly beautiful work. And it's a work where there's a huge beginning, and the end, we don't know where it's going to end. So Mary, the world is your oyster with this. For us, it was a privilege to be involved. Thank you for choosing Cork University Maternity Hospital. We certainly learned, we had great fun, and there's a wonderful document, book, a new creation today that we are celebrating. But I want to thank everybody, and for us it has been a privilege to be with you, and I hope, Mary, that we're not at the end of this journey. I hope we're very much in the beginning. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague.
I was working with a couple yesterday, and I'm very honoured to work with couples, I suppose, at a very difficult time in their pregnancies, when things don't go always so well for them, and the outcomes aren't always good. So I do embrace it, and I feel bad saying I enjoy it, but I know the rewards it gives me. And I suppose I know the service, the rewards it gives couples then. So one of the things that came up yesterday was I was with a couple that I've been working with for a little while, and they had delivered their little baby, and little baby boy, and he was born early, and they had known that he was going to be born early, and that his lifetime was going to be short. But they had gone shopping, and we had had chats all along about what they might like to buy and have for when he was born. And they had gone shopping and bought some clothes. And they just asked me yesterday, I suppose, about the clothes that they had been given, because the items they bought were much too big. But they didn't know that. And at the same time they bought them, and that's okay because they were their gifts for their baby. So they had used some of the clothes we had kindly donated to us from Ballyfihan. I call it Nancy's group, but sure, I know there's more of you there. So they had used them, and they wanted the contact details of the Ballyfihan group to write and to thank them for the very precious clothes, and precious comes up time and time again, that they had been given, and how much it had meant to them. And I suppose that it had allowed them to dress their baby as any baby should be dressed, and allowed them to hold and see their baby and share their baby with their family, because he looks so well. So it's just one example of many examples in everyday. So thank you.
Thanks very much.
I think that's it. I was just asked to wrap up on behalf of the Arts and the Arts Committee in CUH, but I don't want to say anything more. That's just, that's the best way to end. Thank you all very much for coming.